Welcome to Stretford Paddock. I'm Ronaldo Brown and I'm back with the news at Old Trafford, and I've not been here in quite a while. It's been a long time, hasn't it? And the last time I was here, United hadn't actually signed anyone yet. Not anyone of note anyway. I know the keepers, but in terms of Jadon Sancho, Raphael, Varane, they weren't at the club the last time I was done the news, and it's all very exciting. We've got a right winger of choice, centre half of choice, and it's looking very exciting going into next season. But what's even more exciting is the possibility that United aren't quite done yet in the window. By all accounts, Romano, Myrtle, United, the vibe around the club is that transfer business isn't quite over. And who knows, we could actually get the central defensive midfielder of our choice in. I know there isn't much out there, it's a specialist position as I've mentioned. And in terms of getting the likes of a Kante, a Fabinho, a Casemiro and that calibre of player in that area, it's quite unlikely. But if there's one that's young, fresh, raring to go, even the likes of a Camavinga, a Saul Niguez, with Pogba possibly going the other way, it could look very promising indeed for the following season. Without further ado, I am going to get into the news. Actually, before I get into the news, I'll give you a little bit of a weather report because I know you're all here for that. It's a little bit overcast. It looks like it's going to rain any minute now. So I'm going to get this over and done before it wets up my hair, and I've got the graduation ball tomorrow, so I'm not trying to ruin my hair or Callum's camera. Without further ado, I'm going to get into the news. The first bit of news is around the Atletico Madrid midfielder Saul Niguez. The 26-year-old has been reportedly linked to United as a possible replacement if Pogba does go the other way. We've all seen the Pogba to PSG links. Apparently we're valuing him around £16 million, which is about £26 million less than we actually bought him for in around 2016. Personally, I wouldn't like to see Pogba go because of the calibre of player he is. I know he can be inconsistent, he can be a little bit mercurial at times, and it's a situation where, as a fan, you want to see him put in world-class performances, and the type of performances he has put in for France on a consistent basis. I've seen him do that for United, possibly not enough, but it's the type of player where you'll be a little bit disgruntled when he's not performing at the level that you want him to perform, but then if he actually leaves and goes to a club like PSG and he sets the world alight, you're going to be feeling a little bit distasteful and a little bit bitter about it, and you're going to be thinking, why did we let him go? So I think it's a lose-lose situation. With the fact that he's not extended his contract next season, with the Raiola effect and with it lingering around the club, I think if Pogba's not going to solidify his future into United and confirm it in any sort of way by extending his contract, I think we should cash in this window and not let him go for free. And I don't want it lingering into the season where we are trying to kick on from last season and possibly mount a title challenge, get some silverware that we haven't got since 2017. We don't want that lingering around us. But in terms of Saul Niguez as a possible replacement for him, they're not similar in a sense. I know there's a lot of myths surrounding Saul Niguez and his possibility of playing CDM, when in fact he has played there a number of times for Atletico Madrid. Earlier in his career he played for Rayo Vallecano. When he was on loan there, he was a centre-half, so he has got the defensive qualities, he's got defensive ability, he's got the defensive awareness. I know he's moulded into a little bit of a number 8, and I personally believe it would be a good signing, but I think it'd be something that would cost us quite a lot. So I don't see it happening unless Pogba goes the other way. And I don't want the issue to be the fact that we have signed Raphael Varane, we have signed Jadon Sancho, that we can't actually get someone else in because we haven't got the funds that we've not been able to retain from selling Pogba this window. And as I've said, I don't think there's many options out there. You've got Casemiro, who's reportedly disgruntled at Real Madrid, but I don't think United are going to be able to get him. I can't imagine the Galacticos are going to let that many players go, even though they're in dire straits at the moment. But in terms of this Saul Niguez link to Pogba, can he do a job? I know he probably, if he does come to United, he's probably going to have to file a restraining order on Stephen Alson. But in terms of a job he can do for United, I think he can be a decent player, especially with him falling out of favour at Atletico Madrid last season and not being first choice, even though they did go on to win the La Liga title. But in terms of Saul Niguez, let me know what you think in the comments about him, and do you think Pogba should stay or go? And with the second transfer story, I'm not sure there's too much in it, but in terms of midfielders, as I mentioned, I did go through a list of names, but a name that I didn't mention is Wolves midfielder, 24-year-old Reuben Neves, where it's reported that United do have some sort of interest. It's someone that we've admired for quite a while, but a deal is reportedly very far down the line, and with the transfer window, well, not the transfer window coming to a close in a sense, but with the season approaching and clubs wanting to keep on to their players and have their squad solidified at this moment in time, the likelihood of us getting Reuben Neves is fairly slim. But I don't feel like I want to rule anything out at the moment with United. United seem to be acting a little bit differently this window, a little bit more conviction in their work, negotiating a little bit better, getting their deals done. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we do pull off a move for someone of a similar calibre of player. But as I said, you've got the likes of Camavinga and Neves links and Saul Niguez. But I think a lot of those deals are going to be... They're going to... What's the word? What would I say? It's going to be based on whether we actually sell Pogba, because I think we need those funds in. It can't just be ingoings, and no outgoings. That's not the way that business works. That's not the way that United works. And I think if Pogba does go for a reasonable fee, and then we can turn around that money and get the likes of a Camavinga, who's someone that Romano has said that we're very much interested in. Neves possibly farther down the line. Saul Niguez as a replacement. You can't argue with either three. But I think if we are going for a more consistent type of player, a player that can fulfill a need in terms of that defensive midfield role, rather than Pogba, who we tried to shoe in as a left winger last season, tried to put him into the squad in all sorts of ways to try and make him find some form. I think we could do without that kind of lack of assurity going into the squad next season, especially when we're trying to win things and actually try and get a title, silverware, and have a seamless season following on from the progression that we made last. So in terms of Reuben Neves, do I think he's a quality player? Yes. Do I think he's a game changer at United? Personally, I do not believe so. I think Pogba's a better player than him. That goes without saying. I think that would be a little bit of a downgrade, and I think there's better options out there, even though he is arguably Premier League proven, but I'm not sure he's that type of got the attributes to fulfill the needs that we're looking for in that midfield area, especially defensively. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks. With the final bit of news, it's not so much news about any new players that we're linked to. It's about the man that is on his way here, hopefully, if United don't mess it up. I don't think that we can. And that is about Raphael Varane, where Fabrizio Romano has reported that Solskjaer has said that the club is working on the quickest possible solution to get everything sorted. Of course, there is a visa coming into England with Brexit and quarantining. Everything has to be done as quick as possible, but by the book. It is pretty much completely done. You saw Varane on, was it FaceTime or on live with Paul Pogba? It looks pretty much like it's all done and dusted. I think they're just ironing out the final stages of the deal. And before we know it, Raphael Varane will be in a United shirt. He will have to quarantine for a little bit when he does come to the club. So we might have to wait a while before we see him, but we can expect a great arrival for him when he slots in next to Harry Maguire. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has also been saying, according to Laurie Whitwell, that I am very happy that we've managed to get a deal done with Real Madrid. He's a proven winner, so Alex Ferguson was very close to signing him, with whom we have different ways of playing. And that final sentence, with him we have different ways of playing, is something that I am particularly interested in. That shows, if anything, if you are a centre-half or a CDM or any defensive position in that central area in United, you're kind of looking at that statement and thinking, is that kind of a backhanded insult in a way? Not in a sense, because I have said tactically that when you bring in the likes of Raphael Varane and to partner Maguire, you've got a very solid and solidified centre-half pairing. And that enables you to be a little bit more expressive, a little bit more expansive, a little bit more ambitious in how you set up your team further forward. And I think that's what he's alluding to. And that is why a CDM and a centre-half, as we've got, is so important. Last season, we had players that were a little bit susceptible in that area. They needed more protection. You couldn't leave them as exposed as much. And I think next season, even though we were so good going forward, I think we scored the most goals that we've scored in the league last season since we won it in 2012-2013 when Fergie was here. I think we could be even more better going forward, dictate to play more, improve our home form when we're trying to break teams down by having more attacking players on the pitch. And you're allowed to do that when you've got a player that can cover and a player of the calibre of Raphael Varane in the centre of your defence. And it's not the likes of Lindelof and Bailly and players as inconsistent as that. And then even then, you don't have to put two DMs in front of him like McTominay and Fred, and you can possibly even put Pogba there if he stays. I think that the Raphael Varane signing is going to have a very knock-on effect in terms of how United progress and kind of shape their team next season, because I think it's very, very exciting. I think it's very promising, and I look forward to seeing what's happening at this club, especially with fans back here as well. So the fan cams yesterday, the watch along, just make sure that you have a look at all of them. Have a look at Darmesh on a Tier 1 podcast. He's mentioning a few of the stuff that could be happening at United in the next coming weeks as well. And it's a very exciting time, as I've said several times throughout the video, because I'm looking forward to the season. Football's back in a couple of weeks. United could be a threat, should be a threat, whichever way you want to put it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm Ronaldo Brown. This has been the news at Old Trafford. It's been a while, but I'll see you next time.